Hey there, Wargamers. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. For those of you who have been following for a little bit, you may realize, or may remember rather, that I recently put up a video talking about some terrain that I have designed for Death Designs. I'm not the lead designer, that's Austin, but I wanted to make a thing that we could sell so I could say, hey, I made my mark, I did a thing for the company. I've really entrenched myself as being a member, and today I'd like to talk with you guys a little bit more about that. As we get started here, if you are new, please hit that like, subscribe, and buckle up. I want to talk about the new release for the terrain that I've designed for Death Designs for the 6 to 10 mil scale war game stuff, things that work good with our game Steel Rift, as well as Battletech and other stuff that looks like it might fit with this. So first and foremost, in the last video, I wasn't sure what the name of the set was going to be, and I had toyed with a few things about different fobs or different outposts, things of that nature. But we opted to go with AO, Area of Operations. Now, the reason that I went with that is, A, it sounds pretty badass. It sounds like some military term, which kind of is. But that was a pretty vague term. You know, your AO, where your battle might be happening, could be on Mars, could be on a volcano kind of planet, could be on a glacier kind of planet, could be on like a high city area, you know, with like a lot of dense terrain, could be on open fields. So because that term, AO, is so broad, it means that I can add stuff later if I want to. And I do think making some city-style terrain with buildings that you could pull off the top and it has a ruined version inside, or set your terrain up that way so you have ruins and regular-sized building if you're not using destroyable terrain rules for Battletech, I think that would be cool. Then we have AO City, or AO Ruined City, or whatever you want to call it. So for this, AO, Area of Operations, in each set that I will release here, is going to have a specific name. So let's get into that. So the sets themselves are going to be flat pack MDF with some accompanying extra products, or extra pieces rather. So we've got some styrene and we've got some acrylic for the windows and things of that nature. As I'm showing this stuff off, I do want to kind of put the physical representations onto the table and give you guys a view of what that might look like. Now, it's going to be a little bit tight because I can't quite get the framing to be exact, but you'll be able to see pretty much what's here and get a rough approximation of what you might be able to do on your tables if you're playing on like a 4x4 or something like that, especially if you have some organic things like roads, trees, or water, things that could go along with it that are more organic in nature, stuff that I can't make with MDF very well. So, that being said, let's slide this stuff off to the side here. I want to get into the air traffic control tower first. I think that that is the cooler, or one of the cooler parts from the set, and that is this right here. It's actually not that much. We've got two 12x12 sheets of MDF with parts, one 12x12 and three 6x12 sheets. So not a lot. We've got the 4 styrene, and we've got 1 sheet of acrylic with the windows. Don't have stickers for it yet, but don't have stickers. But this is the way it will come, with a label. And this will build approximately 5 buildings. What will those buildings look like on the table? And as we transition into the table, what would the price tag be on this? This is not meant to be like an infomercial, guys. I'm not trying to, I mean, obviously I'm trying to sell you shit. That's what I want to do. We want to make money, right? But I'm not trying to like drive home this stuff. I want you to want to, or drive home the pricing and stuff. Like, I hope you buy it. I hope you play with it. Playing with it's really important. I mean, it's on my channel here. And it's important that I encourage you to get into middies. But I do want to roughly mention some of the pricing because I had no idea what this would cost. So I designed a thing. Austin helped me price it. I think this is going to be like 45 bucks. So that's 5 buildings, $45-ish. And that allows us to still be able to provide these to wholesalers at a decent markup for them as well. So Fortress Minis and Games with Robert and Derek from Aries Minis and Games, Ministry Games. I always mix up the second halves of their names because it's, yeah, you get the point. They'll be able to stock this stuff. So this is going to be AO Airfield. Area of Operations, the airfield. So let's go ahead and grab the parts that would make that set. So first and foremost, we have the tower. The air traffic control tower, which is kind of the centerpiece. I think it's going to be the part that most people gravitate towards. It's the cool, large thing. Looks cool. We've got the large surfaces for deployment, so you can jump on top and be able to play on the elevation. So you plop that down on your table. Boom. We're just going to put it kind of in the back corner because I can actually start to fill out the back here so you guys can see. And then here's your Quonset huts, or the hangars for your aircraft. So let's make us a little mini airfield here. Let's rotate this because I think it'll be cooler if you see this direction. And we'll drop down our little airfield. Boop, boop. And this terrain doesn't, or this table doesn't make it easy to plop these all down in a cool way. But there, that's reasonable. That's reasonable. So we got an air traffic control tower. We got our 4 Quonset huts, the hangar bays for your aircraft. I also designed the door here to be wide enough to fit our Karnov model through, or excuse me, our Condor, which should still fit the Karnov as well. And then, for the most part, most of our VTOLs and such, if you were to have them for whatever reason on the ground level, they should, within reason, look like they could have came out of that hangar. It's not going to be 100%, but close enough. Also, it's worth mentioning, if you have not caught any battle reports of these yet, these are approximately an inch high, give or take at the peak. So in Battletech, for Alpha Strike in particular, these are very good at blocking line of sight for light mechs. So if you were to put a Locust behind this, the majority of it's covered, and in Alpha Strike you have to see at least a third to be able to see the target and shoot them. If you see less than a third, line of sight's blocked. This does a good job blocking line of sight to most lights, and generally I think anything beyond a light, especially going into heavies, they're going to get obscurity. Usually it covers about 2/3, maybe a little bit less on the taller mechs, but at that point you get your partial cover, so you get the benefit of that. And it was important that this be functional for light mechs to scurry around and have some protection, because they don't want to die. They're really easy. If you hit them, they go down. And it'll allow you to be able to shoot over so your big guys can still fire. So that's a thing, a design feature that I went with. The same thing for the buildings. Generally, they're in increments of inches, full inches. So the base part of the tower here is 2 inches tall, and then I think this is going to be at the 5 or 6. This one's a little bit of an anomaly because I didn't stair step, but if you were going up and down 2 inches on the base level, this top one you're probably just jumping because that's too tall for you to have traversed by foot. So next up, the next part, or the next set that I think is going to be very popular, is going to be the bunkers. I think this one's also going to be 45, and the representation on the table for the bunkers is also going to be a little bit wrong with what I have here, and that is because this comes with more stuff than I actually have painted. I wasn't sure when I designed everything what was going to go into the kits, so I only cut and put together and painted 3 pieces. The set comes with 5. So let's go ahead and get into what goes into that set. First and foremost, you're going to get 2 of these small pillboxes, 1 inch tall, so going up and down, traversing. Still the same thing as a Quonset huts. Generally, this blocks line of sight to light mechs. There may be some anomalies there, but generally. So this is kind of like your little pillbox for your infantry. And you'll get 2 of this in the set. It's a really good little set dressing to add to your base here. You're going to get 2 of the double stack pillbox. This one's also got acrylic. There's acrylic in this one as well for windows. There's a little like hangar door. I'm sorry I can't get these shots in tighter. I'm filming by myself. But it'd be so much cooler if I could just like cut and be like, oh look. But this is the same kind of concept, 2 inches tall, so you know for height purposes what this is supposed to be, which helps with rules debacles with you and your opponent. If something, if a mech is supposed to be this height, this terrain's this height, but if you can still see the mech, is it because you pose it on something, is it on a rock, you know what this is supposed to be. So you get 2 of that. So 2 small, 2 medium, and then finally the big boy. This is like the HQ bunker. You've got the 2 inch tall, then go up, flat playable surface, and then you've got the 1 inch traversing up here. So you're going to have 2 playable surfaces. Generally, you're probably going to be jumping onto this one, but then you can walk here. And then one of my favorite features, which you guys probably cannot see in YouTube land, we'll see how the footage goes, but there's like a little H here for helipads. I think it would be cool to land on this. One of the other awesome features of the terrain when we release is hopefully we're going to have a little clan pack you can purchase with resin elements, little lights, key panel, things like that, rivets. So if you want to enhance this to make the MDF look a little bit better, thematic for your taste, you have those options. And we're also going to have some decals that are in scale for this. In particular with the Quonset huts, we've got the little circle area here. We've got some decals that are perfect for that if you want to number off your Quonsets, or if you just want to put big, large numbers on the side of buildings, which when we get to the mech hangers here and the walls, that's going to be useful for that too. So the bunkers here, 2 small, 2 medium, 1 large, 5 buildings. I think that's going to be like 40. Ooh, almost dropped that. I think it's going to be like 45. So let's plop these. Let's put the big one kind of at an angle over here. Obviously, you don't want your airfield blocked by all the terrain, but we got to put it on the table so you guys can see it. So medium, small, large, big ones. All right, next up, let's leave the mech hangers for last because they're very cool. Let's go ahead and do the motor pools. So I can't remember if this one's going to be a little bit less, but I think this one is below the others. I think those 2 are 45. I think this one's going to be like 35, 40. Don't quote me. We'll know when these exactly release, but that's what this one's going to be. If you have watched any of my battle reports, you have seen some of these. When I showcase them, you'll know, you'll be able to identify which ones I'm talking about. I initially wanted this to be 4 buildings. It's going to be 3. The reason it's going to be 3 is the way that our cut files are set up. To get that 4th building in, it was going to force us into 2 cuts instead of 1 cut to make them. And it was going to throw off all of our numbers, and it was going to make it very difficult to make it practically, so we went with 3. It is not exactly what I wanted, but it's where we are. If you like them and you want duplicates, buy multiple sets. Whoop. All right, so you will get 3. You're going to get a small, medium, and large. Now this little Happy Meal size one right here, this was initially going to be the little one, which maybe I could make it as a standalone. We'll make it a a $7.50 building or something. I don't know. We could do that. That is possible. Or maybe you do this as a promo during holidays. If you order something, you get it for free. That would be cool. Or give it away as prizes. I don't know. The little Happy Meal shaped one, that was supposed to be the little one. That one's out. I'm going to put it on the table just to get it out of my way. But yeah. So the of the 3 buildings you will get, you're going to get the small one. So it's going to have a hangar door on this side, and it's got the cool like scaffolding, metal reinforcement plates on the outside, which I think is cool, and that's part of the aesthetic I wanted for the set, kind of military looking, industrial looking. And then as you rotate, you've got the like crew area, maybe a compartment where this is the offices or the barracks portion, or just general things that aren't related to the motor pool, the vehicles, the tanks. And you get a cool little hatch door here. Looks like it opens kind of like this. That's what it looks like. Now, the compromise with this is that actually this set might have had supposed to have been 5 buildings maybe. I don't remember. The compromise between not being able to get the 4th building and getting this one is I did include a couple extra pieces in the set design so that if you did not want this kind of sideways opening industrial door, there's an alternate piece that drops in so that you could switch this out and have it be kind of like boxed up windows and a small door to look more like an infantry entrance versus like an industrial entrance. So you do get a little bit of variety with this one, not much, but a little bit. So let's go ahead and plop this one, I don't know, kind of right there. Let's put stuff on the table. And we got a little one out of the way. So we have the medium-sized one, which is the same kind of core, our Happy Meal building, and then we've got the industrial entrance on the side. And then we have our more infantry size here with the door and the windows, and this is where like the crew goes. I like the shape because it's kind of like adding on, which I feel like from like a militaristic standpoint, having stuff that is easily repeatable, reproducible, and functional is important. So having a core that you then choose the add-ons you need to make this standard template kind of building work for your forces makes sense in my head. So it is using elements from the small one and adding on another one to the other side, so you get the best of both worlds, and you get an interesting profile. These are also approximately, I think, 2 1/4 inch tall. The little Happy Meal thing was one of my earlier designs, so it's a little taller. So this is probably going to block things a little bit better than just the small one, or the 1 inch ones for lights. This is probably going to block most of your mediums as well. So let's just switch that spot, because that's taller than our little pillbox there. And then last but not least, we have the like large building. Same kind of concept where you get the 2 jut outs on the side, and then you get an extra kind of small like forklift looking room on this side. So you get this interesting kind of T-shape. And it's important for me to not just design fancy boxes. I want to have interesting shapes for you to hide infantry around or hide objectives, do whatever. So these interesting shapes that still conform to the like add-ons to the buildings based on your needs for the mission or for the base makes sense to me. So this one makes sense, has all those extra parts. Let's plop this one kind of out in the front. Boom. All right. Also on these, you've got the circles on the side and on the top. And for our decal sheets that we'll release, you'll be able to have stuff that specifically fits these. So if you want to put numbers or something like that, we'll have some options for that. Next up, second to last, the penultimate thing, but not that these are in any particular order. I kind of started with what I thought was cool, and the mech hangers are cool too. But we've got the mech hangers. Now this one is very important to me for obvious reasons. This has come with 4. Had to be 4. We had to make it work. It's 4. And I think this was also 45. It's like 40, 45, something like that. These were my first initial designs getting into terrain. And slight backstory on this, I wanted to get into it. I at least wanted to learn a little bit of Inkscape where we designed this. I designed this door. Had no building. It was flat surface. Like we're designing in a 2D space, not 3D. So I designed a door, and then I was like, cool, I made a door, I'm done. And then I went, you know what? I want to make a building to go around that door. this is that building. This is my very first building. This one specifically is not the literal first, but it's the first design. My first building, I think, got thrown away, unfortunately. So this one is very tall. This one's tall enough so the larger mechs in Battletech could look like they could come out of it. Your Poseidons and your ultra chunky, assaulty, whatever, the mega ones, the 135 plus ton ones, that kind of thing, they're not coming out of this. But your Atlases and your Assaults should, within reason, look like they could have come out of this. And the ones that are a little bit too tall, they look like they could hunch down and walk in. It makes sense. So this one's got the very industrial door. We've got holes cut in here where it looks like it gives you the illusion of lights, but we'll have some resin bits when they're released that have a peg on the back that will fit that hole, so you can put lights on there or rivets on there if you want. And then we've got these circles on the side so that if you want to do decals right here, you can do the decals when those release. And then we've got these little like tech panels and such on here. We've got some tech panels to be in that resin glue pack as well. So if you want to break up the flat surface on the terrain, you can do that if you want to. This will, I didn't even mention, that is the small of the four. Each one of these is slightly different. I didn't want to have just 4 duplicated buildings, but same kind of idea with the militaristic utilitarian view. This stuff is functional. Like, it looks like you would be like, hey, I need to add this onto the standard template building. Boom, we got this bay, we got this add-on, this attaché, that kind of thing. So the utilitarian militaristic view, I don't know if you can mix those together, but it did. That makes sense to me. So this is the smaller one, or the unaugmented one. And then we have 2 that are very similar. They're kind of mirrored. So same kind of features as the other bunker or other mech hangars, but you've got the little jut out on the side with the industrial kind of entrance. Maybe you got a small motor pool or a small mechanic shop. Maybe the gear that's in here is more important. Maybe this belongs to a house that this is a prince or something, and this is his specific mech base. He's got his own little, like, I don't know, his hangout bullshit, drink beer, smoke cigars, play pool. This is his hangout place on the side, and his big giant cool car ride comes out of the side, and then when he comes back, he gets his big family heirloom mech that he's been given, doesn't know how to pilot it, it comes out of this. So he's got that side building there. I don't know what faction that is, but someone in the comments below will let me know. There's probably some house in Battletech where they have mechs and have cool stuff, but they're not very good. That's probably a thing. And not good as in morally good. There's not very efficient at being mech warriors. So the mirror to that one, same kind of thing. And this one, instead of having the more industrial entrance on the side, it's got something that looks like more crew-oriented with windows and then the door on the rear. So, boom, boom. You know what? Let's rotate that. Let's put the pillboxes in the front, put the bigger boxes in the back. That makes the most sense to me. And we didn't do that to begin with because I'm a dummy. And that's what we do. That's what we do. And finally, the 4th building here, which is taking the mirrors and putting them together. We've got the standard core front, like, mech hangar door for them to come out, the side industrial entrance, and then the infantry kind of oriented side here. And that'll give us 4 mech bays. And our table is cluttered here. And then last but not least, from the things I have on the table to represent, we have the fortress walls. I think this one's going to be sub $40 as well. You don't get a lot of parts with it. It's a lot of pieces, but not a lot of physical real estate. And this one's going to come with 3 parts, and it is designed with a hex wall corner in mind. So this could, within reason, work on a hex mat, or map rather, for classic Battletech, but the scale is for Alpha Strike. So it breaks the immersion a little bit from Classic. I got away from doing the hex bases on these and removed them because it just didn't fit well with the maps. You could get a building on there, but it would only kind of go 1 or 2 ways, and you couldn't rotate it, and I didn't want to deal with it. But we have these. These will still within reason work. And you've got the one large one with the entrance door that's large enough for most things to walk through, the ruined walls on the sides, and then you could totally put rivets and stuff on here if you wanted to, if you add that add-on. If you were at Southern Assault 2023, I had a modified version of this on my display board for my painted entry, and it had lights I had put in it and wired it up, so it's pretty cool. I like to use this one as kind of like a, I can actually kind of see the screen there. I like to use that as part of the like border or edge of a map, and then I'll use these, the corner pieces of the wall, to kind of box in the AO, the battlefield, what we are working on. Now, in this particular case, we've got the display board where we do photography on. Spoiler alert, I also took some photos on this for CSO. Maybe it'll get accepted, maybe I won't, I don't know. So this is not a good approximation of what a 4x4 would look like. I actually think this is a little bit less than a 4x4. But if you see my battle reports, we don't use all of the terrain, but we use quite a bit of it. And it fills up pretty well. If you add in some organic stuff like trees, water, road features, things that we can't do very easily with the MDF laser cutters, this stuff augments that really well, and it augments this really well. So if you have any of those things at your disposal, that'll go pretty good with this. Now, finally, in closing for the terrain, we have one thing left. We decided to do a little Quonset hut pack. I feel like for an airfield, you might want more than 4 hangars. Groups of 4 makes sense for Battletech, right? You guys get where we're going with that. But if you want to have more and you don't want to just duplicate the air traffic control tower, we have a pack with Quonset huts. I'm not sure what this is going to MSRP for, but it'll have 4 Quonset huts in it. Basically, it's the Quonset huts minus the tower. I don't have extras of these on the table, but I kind of feel like having the air traffic control tower plus a set of these, giving you 8 hangars and setting up a good corner of the battlefield with that is definitely a good way to fill up a nice section of the map and it feel thematic, right? Now, in closing with this, guys, I'm very excited about this set. I hope that you are as well. I can't wait for it to release. Hopefully it'll be ready for sale before Adepticon. Definitely want to have it done early enough for Ares Miniatures and Games and Fortress Miniatures and Games to be able to stock it. It's important to me that they have access to this, and it's not just like a con thing and then the whole wave of interest is there and then they get left out. I want to make sure that we are doing right by our retailers as well. That being said, I have a whole stack of this stuff that I was cutting as test files. These are test cuts to verify that my production files in the big machines work, whereas they're formatted for the little machines differently. So I got extra ones. What does that mean for you guys watching the channel? I don't want this stuff to go to waste. There are a few errors in this stuff. I don't have the instructions left. I think it would be cool to give some stuff away to you guys, the viewers. The caveat to that is I would need you to cover shipping because I cannot do that. And you're going to be on your own to figure out how to assemble it until I get instructions. So you could be waiting a little bit on that, or you can go at it and see how you fare trying to assemble this on your own. If you would like to be considered to get some of these for free, all you got to do is cover the shipping. Sound off in the comments below and say, well bargained and done. And then check the description. There'll be a link to the Death Ray Designs Discord. Hop in the Discord, go to the Battletech section, tag me, should be DRD Justin or something along those lines, and say Batchall accepted, and or no, not Batchall accepted. Say such and such from YouTube has accepted your Batchall. So comment on YouTube, and oh man, what did I just say that you should say? Oh, right. Comment on YouTube and say well bargained and done, and then go to our Battletech section on the DRD Discord and say your username from YouTube says Batchall accepted. Having you comment in both places lets me verify the accounts is basically what I'm having you do. And then the people on our Discord that have not watched this or don't subscribe to the channel, don't watch this, they'll have no idea what the heck you're talking about. They'll have no idea why you just commented and tagged me and said such and such from YouTube says Batchall accepted. They're going to have no clue what's going on. But I want to give you guys an opportunity to reward you for supporting what I do and let you get your hands on some of this stuff early. I think it'll be really cool. I'd love to get your feedback and see how easy it is for you to assemble, even if you don't have instructions. If you can model your way through a good chunk of this without instructions, it's going to make me feel good about modeling my way through trying to tackle doing instructions on my own. It'll be my first time. I have helped do instructions for DRD's kits before, but I've never done it on my own. So that being said, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoy this terrain. If you want to see me design more stuff like this or see DRD offer more things like this, sound off in the comments below. Let me know. We want to know what it is that you would want. I built this stuff because I thought it'd be cool for the community and cool for me to play games with. But if there's some stuff that you also would like to see us work on, we'd love to hear what you have to say. That said, as always, you know I love to ramble, but it's time to sign off today. Thank you guys for hanging out. Hit the likes and subscribes. Check the description down below to help support the channel. But as always, keep rolling those dice, keep painting your models, and I'll catch you guys next time.